How's that? Is that better? Rookie mistake. You kidding me? I got to get out of here. I'm sorry. I'll see you guys later. Oh my goodness. Rookie mistake, man. I left the microphone on mute. Can you believe that? Unreal. Hey, welcome to Exposure, where I'm exposing my own lack of knowledge on this program. Welcome in, you guys. All right, so as I was saying, I'll just repeat everything you guys heard me mouthing for the last minute and a half. Did you guys see the Ron Hoyer interview earlier today? Man, that dude dropped some fire. So he works for, hey, Dennis, how are you, brother? He works for he's the CEO of the Wisconsin Voter Integrity Group, Voter Alliance. And he's been studying this night and day since November 3rd and beyond. And the amount of information he has on Wisconsin is unbelievable. What a great patriot, exposing the truth of Mark Zuckerberg's CTCL. I mean, you guys, if you've seen any of the interviews I've done, you've seen all the nastiness that's gone on in those five, the Wisconsin five. You've seen all the nastiness that's gone on in those 5 cities. It's just been, I can sense the Wisconsinites' frustration, because I'm frustrated. It seems like Wisconsin was one of the first ones. Hey, Janet, how are you? Hi, Judith. Welcome back. Judith and Dan, one of my moderators. I love it. Moderators, I'm going to need your help tonight because I'm going to be so focused on David and what he's talking about that if you could post links to what he says, or I've got some links down in the description as well of this, some really great resources. An article by Dan O'Donnell is down there that I was reading this morning that was published on the 14th. And that has some incredible information, actually links to the Wisconsin Constitution as well. And then I linked the Wisconsin Constitution down there also. All of the emails, if you need those for a reference point, from Chris Teskey, Sandy Juno, Michael Spitzer-Rubenstein, all of those emails are linked down below from scribed.com. So you can click on that. And one of the things I wanted to mention here, I'm parched. Let me take a sip real quick. One of the things I wanted to mention before we bring David on was, thanks, Pool of Tears. You're amazing. You guys are amazing. This community that we've built so far, man, can you believe we're over 6,000? I'm not even focused on the numbers. I just want more people to get out the message to more people. I just want to be that conduit, like I was saying on my Sunday Live, but I can't believe we're already at 6,000. You guys are awesome. But one of the things I was focusing on throughout this entire process with Wisconsin was everybody's perspective. Sandy's got an amazing perspective, obviously being the elections manager for 24 precincts in Brown County. I mean, just hearing her testimony I was so glad that she came on, and she was actually very thankful for coming on. And she wanted to thank you guys too. She actually told me that a little bit later. She said, thank your audience. No, it's not moonshine. Come on. It's water. It's 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. I don't drink that stuff. Come on, GAB or GB. Are you from Green Bay? Leave it to somebody from Green Bay to ask if I was drinking moonshine out of a ball jar. I'm kidding. I love Green Bay. Although I will say this, quick note. Minnesotans, we're not supposed to like people from Green Bay because of the Packers and the Vikings rivalry. Since I don't watch the NFL anymore, since it's gone woke, I love everybody from Green Bay. I loved them before too, but I love them now. It's just a fun rivalry that Minnesota has. But the perspective that Sandy Juno has was incredible, and I was so honored that she took her time to come on. It was just the perspective that she gave us was just top notch. So I was really thankful for that. So any interview that you want to see, go back over to my YouTube channel and hit replay, because I wanted to use this chat, not just in this live, which you guys can do throughout the night. Please do throughout the night. But on those interviews, I want to use those chat rooms as kind of like meeting grounds for people who want to meet up and coordinate with other people from Wisconsin. So if you're from Wisconsin watching this right now, and you want to coordinate after tonight, please use the chat rooms on my videos. I'll say this. How about we do this? I'll just designate one chat room. I'll say, use the Sandy Juno comment section, okay? Because then we might be spread out all over the place, and I don't think that would be well organized. So let's just say the Sandy Juno interview that I did, let's use that comment section as a chat room to kind of gather with other Wisconsinites to coordinate some efforts. And if you're here also from a group, so somebody's hosting you right now and you're watching this, or there's 5 of you or 10 of you or 20 of you at a location watching this, thank you. Thank you for coming on this program to find out what's actually happening in Wisconsin. I mean, there's been so much, you guys, as you, I'm sure, know, since November 3rd. I'm trying to get David on here, and he's texting me, so he'll be here in just a minute. I think he tried to get on, but to no avail. But I want you guys to know, in even just studying this, I feel the frustration, and it's valid. It's beyond valid. I can sense the apathy from multiple avenues. I can sense the apathy from the legislator, from the city councils, from the municipalities, from the mayors, from it's just it feels like there's so much there that wants to come out, but nobody is either allowing it or nobody's going after it. And so that's what I wanted to expose. And that's what we're going to expose tonight. We're going to take action steps for you to move forward in this process and exact change from the 2020 election. Because there's emails out there. There's Zoom calls out there. Yeah, not much of the media is covering it, but there are media avenues like Dan. Ron had mentioned this morning when I interviewed him, he mentioned a guy from a radio station down there that's also a local radio station out of, I want to say, Kenosha, but I can't remember the guy's name right off the hand. But he's been talking about it on the radio as well. But obviously, I think it was it Fox 11 in Green Bay? Is that the number? I think Fox 11 had a couple stories here and there, but there's really been no, hey Donna, how are you? There's really been no massive groundswell for this. And you've seen President Trump talk about vote dumps in Wisconsin. You've seen indefinite confinement from this situation pop up. You've seen the absentee ballot harvesting, democracy in the park, as Dan O'Donnell calls it, fraud in the park. You've seen all these different avenues of subversion of Wisconsin state law. And there has to be some recourse for you in that state that was only won by 20,000 votes. So that's what we're going to do here tonight. And if Dave ever gets his button gear, we'll have him on. But in the meantime, there is something I wanted to show you because over in Michigan today, it actually ties into what we're doing here tonight. But over in Michigan, if you haven't heard already, there was a massive decision by Judge Elsenheimer in the Antrim County case where he essentially punted. He didn't want to take the case, even though he's led them to this point. And by the way, if you're not from Wisconsin and you want to go see Matt DePerno and Bill Bailey on live right now, he's on Nick Moseder's channel. So go. The reason I say not from Wisconsin, because if you're from Wisconsin, you want to be here. We're going to take some notes and really get to the bottom of things tonight. But if you're not from Wisconsin and you want to check that out, go over to their channel over at Nick's channel, Nick Moseder, Moseder, and CanCon's on with them, and Julie Green Ministries is on with them. And so I was lucky enough to be on with them. I asked them a few questions, but man, the judge ruled today that basically Bill Bailey had no standing. And we're going to talk about this with David, who I'm going to add to the stream right now. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, can you hear me?
Oh, absolutely. Golden Strings of David Jose, everybody. Listen to that. You know what? You should read children's books. You put my kids to bed in a second.
Why?
Because your voice is so smooth.
No, it's just soft. It's like no bass. They're like, Dad, who put all this treble on?
Get out of here.
Yeah.
So I was just talking about Bill Bailey and Matt DePerno. Before you chime in, because I know you got a lot to say about it, I want to play the last 4 minutes, the actual decision of what the judge decided in this case.
That was actually amazing. I actually thought that we should talk about that, so that's good.
Yeah. So I'm going to play that now. We'll talk about it for about 5-10 minutes, and then we'll move into Wisconsin. But I want to. Do you
want to play it all the way through, or do you want to decode what he's saying?
You want to give live commentary, brother?
Because see, the thing is, a lot of times when we tell people, like Josh Barnett and I run around and telling people, status standing jurisdiction. One of the great law teachers, David Straight, introduced me to that idea years ago. Yeah. And one of the problems is that people don't understand status, standing, and jurisdiction. So when the judge speaks it flies over people's head. And they don't really realize what he is really saying. Now, DePerno and Bill are going to raise the roof and tear the house down. But we really need to know what these judges are saying, because the judge is going to explain something that they usually don't do. A lot of times in administrative type hearings, they just tell you this is what it is, blah, 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 and they try to brush off you having any answer. But if you notice, he spoke to the people in your community. Did you notice that?
Well, let's listen to him, because why don't you?
I'm going to tell you to pause every once in a while so you don't miss it.
I'm going to give you max 4 pauses, okay? Because we do have to move on to Wisconsin, because that's why people are here. But I wanted to tie this into Wisconsin, because I think the people watching from Wisconsin can learn a lot from this for either now gathering notes and moving forward, or in the future in case this stuff comes up. So here, I'm going to play this for you now. Dave, you just tell me to pause. You get 4 max.
Okay.
Use them wisely.
I do find Judge Murray's analysis regarding the availability of an Article 2, Section 4, Sub 1, Sub H audit beyond the Secretary of State's audit pursuant to 168.31A to be persuasive. There is no right, either in the constitutional section or the statute, for the independent audit that Mr. Bailey seeks. A petitioner under Article 2, Section 4 does not get to choose his own audit criteria. Rather, the legislature has given that authority pursuant to Article 2, Section 4, 1H of review to the Secretary of State.
Okay, hold on.
While a citizen may seek to audit the results of a statewide election.
Okay.
So what happened here is he tried to throw away the true power of the people, because he said earlier that, and he might say it in a second, that the courts look at the constitutional law, statutory law, and he named something else. So what he's doing is he's showing the different jurisdictions. You have constitutional rights that can't be interfered with. So he said that the legislature delegated that authority to the Secretary of State, and that's not true. You can't delegate authority that the people don't give you. So the people said prescribed by law. That includes the common law and the rest of the Constitution, and anything that does not limit the people's ability to have greater access to audits. And it even said in the Constitution below where he was reading that nothing in this section shall stop the legislature from expanding the powers of the people to have this all-encompassing state audit. But that gives the inference that the stuff before that showed that it was to be liberally construed to give them the AUDIT. So the legislature wrote nothing that said the silly Secretary of State had the power to write something or create the rules when it says there. So he tried to say that they wrote rules to guide how a statewide audit would be done. And that's not what they did. And that's not what the law said. The Constitution said the statewide results can be audited. The results is the number of ballots that come out, not a percentage. Keep going.
Okay.
The Secretary of State. So while a citizen may seek to audit the results of a statewide election, it must do so according to the law. That law provides for performance of the audit by the Secretary of State. There is no other relief available to the plaintiff on this point, as the plaintiffs have either received all of the requested relief from this court or are not entitled to the.
He's saying there's no other relief because he knows that when DiPerno put in statutes and constitution, that it mixes the jurisdiction. Bill Bailey has rights in the Constitution that no legislature can write any statute against. He has rights in the Constitution that's guaranteed that the judge swore to, and you don't need a fine, detailed number of acts from the legislature to tell exactly how it's going to be done for you to be afforded the right. That's Miranda versus Arizona. The Supreme Court had this same argument where Arizona tried to say, well, we don't have anything in statute that says that we cannot arrest someone and not give them, read them their rights. Therefore, we're not bound to have to do it because it's not in statute that way. The court said where rights secured in the Constitution are involved, there shall be no rulemaking or legislation which would abrogate them. You can't even make a rule or a law to block it. He's trying to say that the Secretary of State has the power to limit what happens when it was already said in the state constitution that you can't. And it was said in Miranda versus Arizona. So he's lying.
So then why is he saying it though? If he knows
he's saying it because he was presented with two choices. So when you present to him common law, which in our affidavits, we give you the Constitution. We're not arguing statute. So everything we say binds you by the Constitution. The very moment you introduce a statute, he now gets the power to argue statute. So he's going to tell you in a second that the courts are, he said, there's a lot of people watching online. Therefore, I feel like I must explain why we're doing what we're doing. You know what he just said? He said, I know Matt DiPerno got a team of bad mama jammas who's watching from all the news channels because they're talking about it. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I'm going to explain why we're doing what we're doing. And he's trying to get the heat off of himself. So he's telling, you brought up statute. So I'm going to use statute to kill your argument. And then I'm going to tell you, if you're mad about what the legislature wrote, you could go to the legislature and they can fix it. What he's really saying is you got remedy in the legislature, promised and guaranteed by law, which was already in the stuff that I showed everybody the other day. We have a right to instruct the legislature in Michigan. So he has the right to go tell the legislature, here, this is what I have. This is what we found. Here's affidavits telling of the evidence we found. So you can't make a decision to not give me redress because you know that you write statutes and you're controlling this situation with the Secretary of State, and you made a mistake in giving them authority that you didn't have. Here it is written. Now what I need you to do is go ahead and do that full audit. And the legislature going to say, holy smokes, we just got dropped all this stuff on us. The affidavits and the evidence is going to force them to only be able to make one decision. If they don't follow the affidavits and the evidence and their affidavits saying they have to do it, and all the people who come behind them sending in notices from everywhere, it's going to be trouble. But go ahead.
Okay, you just earned yourself way more than four pauses on this.
This is why it's so important, bro, because people, I say stuff and sometimes people think like this dude is crazy or what is he talking about or we're tired of hearing all this law stuff. What I'm doing is showing you how they play jurisdictional games to destroy our cases. Mm-hmm. So when we run to these courts, we're setting ourselves up not because the attorneys aren't good. Matt is an amazing attorney. They're teaching the attorneys to do things that give the judge discretion. If you just use the Constitution, it blocks him from discretion because he can't. He was saying, well, some things we're not able to make a decision on, constitutional things, blah, blah, blah. We don't have the jurisdiction. He was telling that there was cases that he can't even touch it. So that's what we want to do. We want to force the judges who are bar attorneys not to touch our issues. So we block the courts, go after the people. The people can't answer us. He already made a decision. I'm going to tell you one last thing that's going to expose to you why the affidavits work so well. He said, look, when I'm making a decision as a judge, I either have to look at the constitutional arguments that they bring me or the statutory arguments, and he tells you the rules that he's using, why. He says, or what we have to do is look at the affidavits as the evidence that is explaining the facts to the point that there's no controversy. And most people, that just went right over their heads, didn't catch it. What he's saying is, if you hit somebody with an affidavit and they don't respond, the facts are established by the affidavit. The judge can't make a decision no more. Exactly what me and Josh been doing. Exactly how we got the audit in Arizona. We sent affidavits to the people who did wrong. And then we sent affidavits to the legislature, said, you got so many days to respond, or you agree that everything we're saying is true. All the facts are established by the affidavit. Therefore, the judge can't make a decision. And people aren't catching that. This is why they're falling apart across the country. There is no good faith if we make all the facts established before we come to your house. Yep. So go ahead.
Yep.
No other relief available to the plaintiff on this point, as the plaintiffs have either received all of the requested relief from this court or are not entitled to the relief requested as a matter of law. Pursuant to my previous discussion, the plaintiff's claims are in fact moot.
He said it already.
Judgment to plaintiffs.
So we missed the part where he explained how he's making the decision. When he said my previous discussion and he said the followers who are online are watching, so I feel like I have to tell. That's where you're going to find out the answer to destroy them everywhere. And this is why we're losing. Notice every case in a court got kicked out. Every single one. Does that not seem strange? Like, it's not the attorney's fault if every attorney's case is kicked out. If there's only one place in America that can get an audit, something is wrong. And the only place that got an audit, the people who pursued it were not lawyers. Doesn't that seem kind of crazy?
Yeah, it does.
Kind of weird. So you could play it out and see if he says it here. But he said his previous conversation, so I think he might have hit the other part somewhere else.
Well,
but
this is the last 4 minutes of the entire hearing, and I think the hearing was like 40 minutes long. So, but this is where he makes his ultimate decision.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll back it up a second, and then we'll keep going.
Are in fact moot. Granting judgment to plaintiff on its claims would have no practical legal effect, as the audit available under Article 2, Section 4, 1H has already been done.
And that never happened.
There is no reason to do it twice.
That never happened.
The plaintiff has no.
It never happened.
No.
They were talking about the Secretary of State's audit that she proclaimed.
It wasn't statewide. It was a percentage of a population.
Right.
See, if someone says you have the right to audit the statewide results, that's all of it. He's trying to say what the Secretary of State did a percentage. You can't see. This is the sad thing, is because nobody who was involved with the case read down after lower in Section H, where it said that the legislature can make statute to expand it, which shows that you can't minimize it. So when they say the Secretary of State has the power delegated to them to make it lesser for the people, that's bullcrap. The only reason he can do that is because there was statute added, and now they're going to treat him like a person who works for the government and bind him by the statute.
H has already been done. There is no reason to do it twice. As the plaintiff has no additional relief available, there is no need to review the remaining counts that it has brought. The plaintiff's claims in this case are moot. No additional relief is available, and therefore no claim has been stated. Summary disposition is granted to the plaintiffs as to plaintiff's complaint under 2.116 sub C sub 4.
Under what?
As an aside, 16 sub C sub 4. Granted to the plaintiffs.
He didn't talk about the Constitution. He's dealing with statutes.
2.116 sub C sub 4.
Here, hold on one more second. One more time.
2.116 sub C sub 4.
So that was the statute he was referring to.
Yeah, and see, a man or a woman has no business talking about statute because they're not bound by statute. So anytime you put yourself in a statutory position, you're claiming that you're a government worker, pretty much.
All right, moving on, continuing.
As an aside, the court would note that at its core, this case has involved from the beginning.
Wait. Now,
all learned to do
watch what he does. He's going to tell that from the beginning, this case was dealing with the fraud. Anytime you claim there's fraud, you have to prove there's fraud. So now they're forcing you to prove there's fraud to get discovery to find fraud. Where if the case started off being about, I have a right to a statewide audit to ensure integrity and accuracy. Once you do that, now they can't bring statute. He could have made rules of court that says this court is going to move by the Constitution. We are claiming our rights as one of the people, and there will be no statutes used in this case. Now, what he's doing is he's using the fact that there was a statutory argument brought up, therefore he's going to kill you with it. And that's what they'll do. They're not trying to tell you how to do everything, which he said earlier. He said, the court responds to what is brought to it. We can't tell you what to do, nor do we answer questions, even if it's a good question. He's trying to be slick, but remove himself from the middle of the heat.
So Anthony's asking, is he incompetent or corrupt?
He knows what's happening. He's only using what Matt gave him. So therefore, if he only uses what Matt gave him, he can't deal with just the Constitution. He has to use the statutes too, which is a problem for people's rights, because nobody can write a statute against your rights. So every time we go looking at statute and say, well, based on statute 272, do I have the right to? Nope, you don't. You're just a worker. You're just a worker for the government. The people have a right to everything. But if you're a worker for the government, no, you don't. So if you try to make an argument that you are to have a protection in the Constitution and you bring up the statute, you automatically move the jurisdiction. You're using more than one. You can't do that. Either you're one of the people who have rights or you're a person who has duties and obligations. You can't be both.
Man, this is such good breakdown. I'm not a constitutional scholar. You've always brought me into the fray with such simple speak. And I don't mean that as though you're patronizing me. I mean that to thank you, because this is why we're here tonight, Dave, because these people of Wisconsin and all over the country who want to hear about what's happening in Wisconsin, knowledge is power. And once we get that knowledge, once we understand the Constitution, we can exact change with affidavits or how we were harmed or in any direction. But we have the ability to do that. We just need to know how and where to go.
That's the most important thing. The Bible says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. Knowledge is the thing that people don't want the most. It takes time. Yeah. It's hard to hear. You got to talk about deep stuff at times. So what happens is, think about it this way. The bills and declarations of rights are rights that are guaranteed in the Constitution. And this will lead into what you want to do for Wisconsin. Is Wisconsin watching now?
Oh, you know they are.
I love you, Wisconsin. I'm sorry for taking you guys through this side. But what I want you to understand is, guys, from now on and forever, understand that the courts work for you. They are your servants. The bar members have infiltrated our courts and taken over. And for 70, 80, 90 years, we have allowed them to do this and we knew no better. Right? Now, we made a mistake. It's fine. Let's change it. So when we see issues like this happen, it should disgust you, because in the law, the judges are to get rid of any stealthy encroachments by the government. And there's many, many, many cases that show that the government will pull you into a court, a tribunal that's not a judicial court, and steal your stuff, put you in prison, charge you for, stuff that'll get you killed. And they will not tell you that they're doing it. And so for every one of us, and when he says good luck going forward, he's letting you know, hey, there's some stuff happening that you can do, and you could take it up with the legislature. He was being slick as heck. He watches us. He knows what the freak he's saying. And I'll show you. If you want me to show you in the law, I'll put it to you like this. The legislature is writing statutes that the court says they have to follow, right? Because they brought up a statute, now the court has to follow it. So you're not really in a constitutional court. You're in a court that's dealing with statute now. The statute, anything the legislature writes is not common law. The people wrote the common law. We are in a common law land. The rights in your declarations and bills of rights are protected where the legislature can't even write anything to go against it. Now I'll give it to you guys real quick, and people in Wisconsin, start taking notes right now, because this is going to go towards what you're dealing with tonight.
I'm going to have you pause right there, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Take notes, please, because this is why we're here. However, if you miss something, or if he's talking and you're just like, holy crap, what's going on? You can always go back and watch this as a replay. It'll be on my channel, Marcus D. Just search for it. Exposure is the show. But you can always go back and watch it. But please, we're going to be asking for questions in the comment section eventually when we start to come up with Wisconsin. But you can take notes now on what he's saying. All right, go ahead, Dave. Did we lose him? I think we might have lost him. This happened to him yesterday too. We were on with Neil Johnson, and his internet just went out. Can you read that? Can you read what he's saying? I can't read that. Man, that's just leading into that though, guys. Isn't that fire that he brings? Here, Dave, I'm going to remove you, and then why don't you come back in when you just reload your stuff and come back in. I don't want to. I want to play this for you guys, but I don't want to play it without him because that live commentary is fire. Yeah, right. The comments, Ken Starr comments are after him. That's a great point, actually, Ken, because that is why we have to say dumb onion and the F word and selection on YouTube, because they are censoring. And the fact that you probably heard me say this before, but the fact that we're even here, the fact that we're even in this position, that I have to have you awesome folks on here live and then potentially think about taking it down later because of stuff that we may have said throughout our time tonight. It's beyond frustrating, but that's the time that we're in. Okay. We got to this point. Unfortunately, we're here. We got to do the boots to the ground work now. You know, there is no more. I was with a buddy of mine this afternoon. Man, he's so inspirational. What a leader. He's grown a company from nothing, from his garage all the way up to a $20 million company. And I'll never forget it because I used to work for him when he was first starting out in his garage. And actually, he was doing the job as a manager that I was at and then doing his current job on the side while he was managing at the job I was at. And the amount of action that it has taken to get him to this point, to grow that company over the last 3 years from basically nothing into a $20 million company, this dude is about action. And I think that's what we can do in Wisconsin. Like, there's so much there. And yeah, looking back or looking forward, you know, the legislator has bills for 2022 and beyond, and you know, who knows what Evers is going to do, and I don't really care, because I think if we have to go back, we have to at least look at it, we have to try. And that's where it's going to take courage. It's going to take a lot of courage to get into this position where Arizona is and what they're doing down over in Antrim County and everything else. And so, hey, Dave, how are you, brother?
I'm sorry, man.
Hey, it's quite all right.
Get to a certain part and just boosh, kick me out.
Right? I'm going to put you back up here because for some reason.
I'll read real quick just in case they throw me out.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm going to work on some technical stuff.
Constitutional right, a right guaranteed to the citizen, right, by the Constitution and so guaranteed as to prevent legislative interference therewith. So when it talks about the audit in the state constitution of Michigan, it tells that it is a voter's right. It is a right. It is a right. So it's secured in the Constitution, right? So if it says that the legislature cannot write any legislation to interfere with it, how in the world is the judge saying the legislature granted authority to the Secretary of State to be able to mess with it? You see that? Are you catching that? The constitutional right is guaranteed to the point that the legislature can't interfere. The right in 4H, I think it is, or 4H of the Constitution of Michigan says it is a voter's right. Yeah. It is a right that must be broadly construed. The Constitution is a trust indenture called the trust indenture, and a constitutional right, which it called it a right 3 times in a row. The legislature doesn't have the power to write anything to interfere with it. Now, the legislature can expand it, but if you put a limit that says the Secretary of State can tell the people how, if
Right.
they could have a statewide audit, that they can limit it down. You just lied, Judge.
Right.
See, so this is why we have to understand what our Constitution says. Because if we don't know this, nobody can do anything. But
Exactly.
I tell you what, all the people who saw that, this is a blessing, and it's great that it happened. Because now we all learn how to beat it, and we're going to blast them with notices and affidavits and dare them to say that it doesn't say what it say, and use the other parts of the law and the dictionaries to destroy what they are doing.
Yep.
And notice it didn't say you could have an audit. It said the results of the audit, the statewide, one man can audit the results of the statewide election. It didn't say a percentage of the results.
That at its core, this case has involved from the beginning something that we all learned to do in kindergarten, and that is count. We've, over time, and perhaps with good reason, in the conduct of our elections, taken this very simple function and made it into a complex and often computerized exercise. By deciding this motion, the court is not saying that there were no problems in the way that Antrim County conducted its November 2020 elections. The clerk has admitted that there were challenges and problems in the elections, although the hand count ultimately of the presidential election showed results largely consistent with the canvass totals that were entered by the state and reported by the county. Nor am I saying that the processing of election data here wasn't corrupted or corruptible. I don't have the facts to make that determination.
Isn't that the point, though?
He doesn't have the fact. Well, no. We got to understand what's happening. He doesn't have the facts because they were first looking for fraud. So in order to say they had a reason to look for fraud, they had to show fraud. So he said, well, there's challenges, there's problems, but you didn't prove it was fraud. You can't show they did it on purpose. That's why I never want to go to court and say somebody committed fraud. I just want to do an affidavit that lets them tell themselves that they didn't do what they're supposed to do or they don't have the authority. I don't want to argue fraud. I want to say, show me where in the Constitution it says you have the authority to block me.
Yes.
Show me where in the Constitution it said that you could write anything to block my ability to have a statewide audit.
And for those sorry, but I got to point this out, because for those in Wisconsin, whatever he's talking about with Michigan, think about the scenarios that are happening that happened in Wisconsin, that you can apply what Dave is saying to here to that, because this is the grievance that you have of why you're listening to David in the first place, because you could say, okay, well, that's this case. How can we use that for the ballot harvesting or the democracy in the park or the CTCL or the Democratic operatives or something, anything that broke Wisconsin state law, you can use this in your situation as well. But Dave, I want you to continue. I just wanted to interject
so just use the state constitution and show your rights as the people. Because here's the thing. This is what the people don't understand that makes us weak. The people have the power for maladministration to get rid of any government at any time, at will, however the freak they want to. Sounds crazy, right? Sounds like I'm just blurting out some stuff. But I can show in the state constitutions that this is the power we have over any government. So they can play all the games that they want to. We will show them the law so they can't ignore it. Then we will make them do what we want them to do. And if they don't do what we want them to do, we'll remove all of them. It's that easy. You got to realize the numbers of people that are fighting is growing every time y'all see some stupid stuff like this. Y'all are seeing what parents who fought CPS, parents who dealing with child support, parents who dealing with their cars being taken, people who deal with their houses being taken. They go through this every single day. Yeah. And you can't see it because you're not in those little private courts. But now you're getting a taste of what everybody else is suffering with. This is why we have to come together and do notices and affidavits together. And we keep talking about these same dumb notices and affidavits because it's how you trap them and win. Go ahead, Marcus.
Corruptible. I don't have the facts to make that determination. The plaintiff's reports and the news of the day, including a computer hack recently of a main petrol fuel pipeline on the East Coast, might well suggest that this is something that policymakers should be looking into in the future.
You hear that?
See, Dave, this is what.
Wait, did you not hear what he just said? He said that who should be looking at the future. He just told y'all something so big. It's the biggest thing he said.
Main petrol fuel pipeline.
Watch this.
On the East Coast might well suggest that this is something that policymakers should be looking.
What did he say?
Bang, policymakers.
Did he say lawmakers? Every statute that they write is just administrative policy. It's legislative corporate bylaws for them. The people have the law called the state constitution, and it binds all of the statutes. All of the statutes must be made to protect the people's rights so that they're not interfered with. He didn't say they were freaking lawmakers. He's telling y'all they just write policy. So whatever we just dealt with right now is not judicial stuff where some frizzle was proven. It was just a policy argument. Whose policy is the best? I don't freaking know. Go talk to the policy makers. He's trying to tell y'all, get out my face and go talk to the legislature. They're controlling all this. If there's an error, they owe you redress. Keep going.
I do want to bring up a point here, and this is exactly why Jenna Ellis and Rudy Giuliani went to all these different states that were in question before the legislator. They were in convention centers. They were in, it looked like janitorial closets at a certain point. They were in hotel conference rooms. This is why they went before the common people they went before the legislator with common people's grievances, because that's what makes change. And they knew the optics of what they were doing. Everyone was like, well, this isn't a press conference and it looks like a sham and it looks like this is just some ragtag meeting. What are they doing? They knew exactly what they were doing because it's power back to the people. It's taking it from Washington, giving it to those who are aggrieved, which is all of us at this point, especially in Wisconsin, and then putting it onto the legislators saying, can we do this together? And if you need some help, we're going to be there to help you. But that's exactly why they did that.
You said aggrieved?
All
those who are aggrieved, yeah. That's like the people who got hurt, right? Got harmed.
Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty deep. Like, what if the Michigan Constitution told you how to deal with what you're aggrieved by? What if they gave you orders on what to do? What if your forefathers put it in the state constitution of Michigan and nobody told us how to deal with when you are aggrieved? Y'all want to see that? Let's do this. Let's throw this junk away and let's look at real quick, and then we can go to whatever else you want to go to. I don't even need my clicks anymore. Let's go look at Michigan Constitution, pull up the section on elections. No, I'm sorry, on the legislature.
Do we do that right now?
No. I'm
Okay.
sorry. The Bills of Rights there. Yes, sir. Right now.
Michigan Bill of Rights.
Yep. Affidavits can be used and blow their back out. It might be happening real soon. Maybe. Like quick.
What do you want me to do?
Go to the Michigan Constitution. You can just pull it up. We're going to go to it together. We're going to find it like we ain't never did it before.
Yeah. All right. Constitution of Michigan, 1963, Michigan legislator.
You got to share it. It's not showing.
Yeah, I know. Hold on a second.
You ain't got to be all proper.
I'm still rookie at this, man.
Just do it wrong. It don't matter.
Dave, you want to know something embarrassing?
What's that?
I literally, for like the first minute and a half of this broadcast, had my microphone on mute. And everybody in the chat's like, you can't hear you. turn on your microphone. Oh my gosh, like a minute and a half. I'm like, hey guys, what's up? And then all of a sudden I'm like,
it's real life. It's better than reality TV.
It's so true.
You know, that's the thing about us. We're just real people. I came on here on purpose with a shirt with a stain on there right here. And it's a gas station marathon shirt that I wear. I used to wear this to church on purpose. Now look, heck yeah. Right. Go to Declaration of Rights, number 1. Now I want everybody to see this. Y'all go see some fire real quick. And if my system mess up, I'm going to go through my phone.
Yeah, what's up with that? It happened the other night too. Is it just bad internet or something?
Once I said certain words, it was like doosh right
away.
Yeah,
I knew that. I knew that was it.
Pick up the law and start talking. Boom.
Article 1, Declaration of Light. You want to do Article 1, Section 1?
Yes, sir.
All right. Political
no. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Go back one. Article 1, Section 3.
Section 3. Assembly, consultation, instruction, and petition.
Now, sir, wait. Don't hit on it yet. Don't.
Okay.
You're too fast. You're too fast. You're like a ninja. Assembly, that's one thing. Consultation. Like when you want to go talk to an attorney and find out about the law, they'll give you a what? A consultation, right?
Mm-hmm.
instruction and petition. Now let's look at Article 3 and let's see if our forefathers gave us some to tear these people's back out. Watch this. It's going to be beautiful. The people, did it say persons? Didn't say persons of government. The people have the what?
The right.
The right. Now that's a constitutional right, right? Peaceably to assemble. That means we can all come together and do what?
Peaceably let our voices be heard.
No, sir. You got to read it.
Peaceably to assemble.
And then what?
To consult for the common good.
So why are we coming together?
To consult for the common good.
So we could talk about the law to each other and we don't have to be attorneys and all this bull they're trying to tell us to hide the law. So we could come together and consult for the common good. It didn't say bring a bar member. And what does this tell us we could do that for?
To instruct their representatives.
Stop. So we got legislative body members that are representatives and we have the right to come together. Now we're going to instruct the legislature write laws, right? The legislature also deals with our business. So if we can instruct them about things of law, doesn't that mean we can discuss the law? I mean, like we came together and wrote the Constitution without being bar members, right?
Yep.
And if we wrote the Constitution, that's the highest law of the land, right? The federal and the state. So if we wrote those, why do we need the bar members' approval to talk about the law?
Why do we?
We don't.
We don't.
They're lying.
We don't.
But let's keep looking. To instruct their representatives. So we got a problem. The judge is like, look, if you want to change what's in the statute and them trying to limit you, it wasn't us. That was the attorney. I mean, that was the legislature who got tricked by our attorneys, but we ain't going to tell you. Right? So the legislature has bar members inside of their offices that write all their legislation for them and tell them it's constitutional. The legislature don't know that it's not. So when we come with affidavits saying, hey, you know, right here where it says in the Constitution, you can't write a law against me. You know, right here in the Bills of Rights where it says that we have the power to instruct you. You don't instruct us. We instruct you. And you dang sure don't instruct the Secretary of State to limit our rights. Where did you get the thought that you could do that? Right? Now, you said a word called aggrieved, didn't you? Watch this. To instruct their representatives and to petition the government for what?
Redress of grievances.
Oh, shucks. That word grievances is very close to the word what?
Aggrieved.
Oh, shucks. The aggrieved person is the person who has a grievance. The reason they have a grievance is because somebody has affected their rights or done wrong based on what the people have granted for authority. So when the legislature thinks, you know, we're going to just let somebody write something for the people that limits them, we never gave that authority. Now, to prove this, I'm going to show you what the Constitution really said in their state that nobody told everybody. Let's go back. And you didn't hear this argued in the whole case. This is going to be real easy. Watch.
Yeah, why not? Why didn't this get brought up?
Because it's not taught to any of the attorneys. Go back one.
So we're at the Declaration of Rights. We're
going to go to the election section.
Okay.
And I'm going to show y'all some fire. This is going to get freaking ugly. Now, I'm going to prove to you the judge was freaking lying. The attorneys on the other side were freaking lying. Go to section 2, article Constitution 2 right there. Now, go to number 4, and I'm going to show y'all something that's going to blow your back out. Now, number 1, every citizen of the United States who is an elector qualified to vote in Michigan shall have the following rights. Is this not a constitutional right guaranteed in the Constitution we're talking about right now? It keeps saying the right? All these things are rights. If you have a right, the legislature can't write anything against it, right? So why the freak is the judge talking about the legislature gave some authority to the Secretary of State to write something to limit the statewide audit?
That's the question.
Yeah, because if you don't know this and you don't present this as the argument, the judge can't say it. That's why. It wasn't presented as the argument. Now, I'm going to prove to you what it really means. A, the right once registered to vote a secret ballot in all elections. Now, let's scroll down to number 4. I'm sorry, number 2H. So you see 2, go down to H. Now, tell me if this is what the freak the judge said or anybody else. It's very clear. The right to have the results. Now, if you say the results, did you say a percentage of the results? Did you say some of the results? The stupid Secretary of State looked at a few of the ballots out of all of them and said, oh, we did a test. Shut the freak up, you're lying. And we're sick of it. Watch this. To have the results of the statewide election slaughtered it in such a manner as prescribed by law. Now, there was already law here. There was no statute yet. So if the next day they had an issue with some elections, would they have to go to a statute when no statute was created to tell what laws prescribe how you do this? You want to know how you know what's prescribed by law when this was created? Just scroll up to what you just read, and it tells you all the law to be eligible to be able to do this. The common law, when it talks about law, it's talking about the common law.
Yeah.
And then now I'm going to prove to you that this was what it was about. It's talking about the common law, and there's an inference here that the legislature doesn't have the power to interfere with this except for to expand it. That sounds kind of dumb, right? Sound like I'm reaching, right? Let's be real. Sound like I'm reaching, right? Like, Dave, you just pulled that out the whatever, right? Well, let's read the next line. I told y'all what a constitutional right is. Keep it in your mind. Watch this, y'all. All rights set forth in this subsection shall be self-executing. Not one, all of them. So doesn't that mean it's constitutional rights that they guarantee are protected and all you got to do is give them notice and they got to do it? Self-executing mean when you tell them they got to do it, period. Watch this. Nothing contained in this subsection shall prevent. So all this other stuff prevents the legislature from doing something. What the freak is it preventing them from doing? Well, it's going to explain it like in the Bible by telling you the opposite. Nothing contained in this subsection shall prevent the legislature from expanding voters' rights. It said the word rights again, right? Beyond what is provided herein. So if they're inferring that the legislature can expand it and nothing in here should prevent them from expanding it, it's showing that they're prohibiting something. What are they prohibiting? The legislature from closing it down. Actually, matter of fact, we missed a line. Look up one. This subsection shall be liberally construed in favor of voters' rights in order to effectuate its purposes. You know what that means? Everything in here is written to make sure the voter gets exactly what they want. Exactly. It's to be liberally construed, not limited by some dumb text of the legislature. You're catching that?
I am now.
Now, if it's to be liberally construed to effectuate its purposes and the people put this in the Constitution so they will have the guaranteed right, how the freak are you going to say that the legislature gave somebody authority to limit it? When you see right here, it tells you nothing contained in this subsection shall prevent the legislature from expanding, making it even greater voters' rights beyond what is provided herein. You see that?
Yeah.
So the thing is that they don't have the power to do it. They don't have the power. So the judge is basing the case off of statute because they brought up statute. And because they brought up statute, he started using what the legislature wrote to the stupid Secretary of State that the legislature didn't have the authority to write. So what the judge, in effect, did was say, the legislature messed up on this. I ain't going to read the bottom part to y'all because y'all might see it. So I'm just going to read the part I want y'all to see. I'm not going to read what David Jose read because that'll make everybody in the nation pissed at me. I'm going to just say you should go to the legislature who may have wrote some statute that's unconstitutional. But right now, I'm just going to judge what the legislature say so that, I can just throw this out of my hands.
That is literally, I don't think anybody, I certainly didn't well before 2016, but even leading up to this past election, that is like studying the Bible. That is taking it word for word, intent for intent, what it was meant then, what it's meant for now. And yes, you're right. That's the dirty work that nobody wants to get into.
That's the thing.
But when you get into it, it's so important. It's so interesting. And then all of a sudden you realize how much power you actually have.
Now, let me ask you this. Based on you and the people in the audience who are looking, Deborah Bush, Melissa Larson, Michael P., all you guys, can y'all see, holy cats? Can y'all see now that somebody just got stripped of their rights? Can we see it clearly based on what I read that the complete text said? Doesn't it look a lot different than what was presented in court by everybody?
And don't you see how you, as an aggrieved Michiganer, can actually go to your legislator with this information
and blow their back out?
And blow their back out.
They already swore to it, and they made the lawyers tricked them into writing a statute saying the Secretary of State can make the difference, knowing that they were going to do this one day.
And I was on with DePerno just before you came on, before we came on live here on Nick's channel, and he was saying this is a spider web of strategy. He goes, we had to plan for this, for 3 other options. Now with this that we know we have to plan 3 more options, and we've been planning for this. He goes, I've never seen, after a decision like this, Bill Bailey and Matt DePerno so incredibly happy.
They're about to destroy them bad. I'm telling you, Candace Taylor just went after Georgia, and they're getting ready to get their audit now. And then Vernon Jones jumped on the bandwagon after she did it, which shows that they know very well what they're doing with these affidavits. And it was shown in Epic Times today. When you look at Matt and Bill, they made a huge mistake, because now they're going to do a process, and the judge is going to wish he could pull it back, and he's not going to be able to. It's going to be game over. And then when Matt and them get done with what they're doing, it's going to fall on every judge in Michigan. Every single one. Every bit of corruption and crime they did is going to come out because he should have been smart. If I was the judge and I realized I did all this wrong, I'd have been like, man, look, you can have the audit, do whatever you want to do, and pray that the people have mercy on him because he helped Matt get what he needed. Now, with what, man, I can't tell their strategy, but Matt got some freaking fire. Josh Barnett talked to Matt and DePerno for an hour yesterday. And I wouldn't tell y'all this, but Bill Bailey talked about it earlier today. And I'm telling y'all, you work with them and what they're getting ready to do. And I'm going to tell you 2 things are going to happen. They're going to correct everything that was done wrong, and the legislature is going to have to see that they have to do it, which is going to cause a separation of powers between the bar members and the legislature. The legislature is going to realize they've been lied to, and they're going to be forced to deal with the issue. You're going to see also the bar members all across the country get in trouble. And we, the people, are going to step in, and we're going to go after what it is that the bar is doing wrong by trampling our rights and suing us in our own courts, and watch what happens.
And that's, I want to get that. Oh my gosh, dude, there's so much in there. What I want to get out, at least in this moment, is that this is why, if we haven't been conditioned at this point to not jump off the cliff when we see certain things like this happen today, then we have missed the point since November 3rd. We thought it was going to be on January 20th. We thought it was going to be on January 6th. We thought it was going to be with the legislators. We thought it was going to be with the Texas lawsuit that 19 states signed onto, that Trump was signing onto. We thought, the dates. If something happens like this, I understand that we're desperate for information. I understand that we're just out there like, oh, please give us something. And then when we see another court battle, the mainstream media latches onto it like they're nasty bulldogs. They get their slobber all over it. And they're like, see, you guys are wrong. You're wrong. They don't have any clue. Not a clue. You know what? And man, CanCon made this point today. And I got to tell CanCon, that was such a great point that he made on Neil's show today. He said, the mainstream media is running with this right now. But guess where they were before this? They were silent. They haven't said a word.
You got to realize this. I told people this. Didn't Arizona lose every single dang case? Every case done by a bar member got lost and kicked out, right? They didn't even hear the evidence, right? But we're doing an audit right now. How's that possible? See, something is wrong here if you look at statistics. It's almost like dumb onion. If you look at statistics, there should never be a reason that one side should win all the time. That's not normal. So you're telling me that the bar members were trained by the bar, but everyone that tries to do a case to deal with selection loses every single time? So did the bar members get taught the right way to do law if the bar members lose in every case trying to exercise the people's rights? Or is something happening where they're being blocked? Can only be one way or the other. So did you not train the lawyers on how to deal with people's rights? Because there's one state in America where a slaughter is being done, and the documents that were put in named the people who we wanted to do the slaughter, and we have them, even when people didn't want to have them. The state also got documents from the people telling that we're going to have an audit. We were going to see all the machines, all the paper, all the related materials, and they went out word for word and quoted everything we said in the notice. And is it by chance that there was no attorneys involved? Is this happenstance, or is something really happening? So every single case in Arizona that went to court didn't win, and we still got the audit. So why in the world are we worried about if another judge does something stupid? It's irrelevant. I'm
going to finish this video. I want you to stop it if you need it. Folks in the comments, by the way, subscribe to my channel. I didn't put it in the links. I'll put it in the links here in a second. But also, if you like what you're hearing right now, and I can't imagine if you're still here that you don't, listen to this fire. This is the Constitution. This guy right here, my man. Yeah, no, come on. Yeah, oh yeah, that guy. This is why he has grown so quickly on YouTube. He started off from scratch, like we all have. He's up over 13,000. The numbers to us, he'll say it too, don't mean anything, right? Yeah, you do.
I hit 13,000?
I thought you did. Pretty close.
I think I'm like 12,000 something, I thought.
Well, either way, that's a lot of freaking people that want to learn from one of the best constitutional scholars in the country.
It's because of y'all.
No.
It's God and y'all. God used y'all to bring me onto the stage. Because look, there's a lot of people, bro, who heard me tell the law and they refused to give me access. They refused to give Josh Barnett access. And then God went around the circle and used you guys, and now we're able to talk and teach. CanCon, you, Bahizzi, Big Nick Masseter, it's y'all. It ain't me. You know what I'm saying? God used y'all, or I wouldn't have a voice.
But listen, I understand what you're saying, but nobody has done the work, Dave. That's the thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but then again, that's going to be God and the followers, because a lot of these people who are followers, like I'll name some for you. Fletch, Celestial Wayne is one. Salt and Pepper.
The band?
Oh man, right here. Bones Mama, Independent Mini, CA Human, Steve. All these people are people who like motivate you to keep going and find deeper stuff. And they're like, Dave, tear him up, get him, And so you can't slow down. Like it makes you go harder and harder to the point I'm up at 2-3 in the morning. Like, what's going to be the next thing we go get him with? Right.
Yeah.
And then Josh Barnett, on the other hand, Lori Smith too. She's a bad mama jamma. Like I've never seen a picture for Lori. I see that L and I remember it, but that's how I am. And Sandy Brown too, 53. I got a memory that I see certain, Rocky too. I see their thumbnails, and I mix the feelings I get when I see them. So when I see a troll, I realize a troll. When I see the good people, I automatically get a feeling of goodness, because some of these people have pushed me to grow and go hard, and they're thankful. Some people are just like, show me what I want to do it. I say right now, or you're a loser. And then some people are really about building you. So God has used a lot of people to build us up and make us go harder and continue to push, and we win. And every little win is big. Go ahead.
So what I was saying is go subscribe to this dude's channel if you want to know the amount of information that he has in his brain. He's going to disseminate to you, and there's classes you can take too. I'm going to finish this, and then we're going to move on to Wisconsin. So please, Wisconsin people, start typing your questions into the comments.
In the future, if election results were to be held for ransom in the future, one can only imagine what would happen. I am saying that, as pled, the plaintiff's request for an audit is not available.
He said, as pled, based on the pleadings, he can't do it. He said, based on the way the pleadings is written, he can't do it. He didn't say he didn't have the power to do it. Based on the pleadings. Keep going.
Under advisement. This court's order with regard to the preservation of ballots, etc., entered in December is stayed. I will need an order from Mr. Grill as to my decision today for the reasons that have been stated on the record. All right. Thank you all very much, and good luck going forward on this case.
That's it. That was in Michigan today.
Yes, sir.
Incredible fire. So moving on to Wisconsin. This is a situation, Dave, where they brought in Mark Zuckerberg with CTCL money from a private nonprofit company that infiltrated the election there, just like they did down in Arizona. They gave money to Maricopa County as well. Brought in Democratic operatives who ended up kicking out, through basically pressure, Chris Teskey, the Green Bay elections clerk. Before she was kicked out, she ended up documenting the entire situation through emails. And again, you can see those emails down below, along with the Wisconsin Constitution. That's also below. And they ended up basically performing an illegal election with no elections clerk, but these operatives running the show. And they did that all November 3rd. And before, they were curing ballots, absentee ballots, which they were also unlawfully taking in drop boxes. I'm going to use that term loosely because they were bags in a park, Dave. They actually took these, they were called Democracy in the Park. And in the major metropolitan areas, the big five, Kenosha, Madison, Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Racine, they end up taking these bags in the park and collecting up to 17,000 ballots throughout the state of Wisconsin. And so all of these election laws were subverted. They ended up getting, actually today, here, I'll show it to you right now. This was, well, I saw it today, but Dan O'Donnell, who, if you don't listen to him out there in Wisconsin, guys, you got to tune into him. WISN 1130, and I think, what did he say? WIAB or whatever radio station is out of Madison. He's out of Milwaukee, WISN. He put this out there from the MacGyver Institute, and this was on the 14th. Democratic mayors may have violated open meetings laws during secret election planning. And these are the five right here. Right here. You got the Milwaukee mayor. You got Corey Mason here. I got all their names. Corey Mason from Racine. Eric Gingrich, who that guy is, he's on one of my I want to depose with subpoena power list, guys. I really want him to be in front of a judge and actually be under oath to talk to the people about what happened. Tom Barnett of Milwaukee. Satya, is that how you say her name? Satya Rhodes of Madison. Satya Rhodes Conway. And then John Anterman. Anterman, am I saying that right? Of Kenosha. And Corey Mason was actually the lead on getting all of these other mayors together to perform grants, or to apply for the grants for the CTCL money. So this is a report from May 14th by Dan O'Donnell from the MacGyver Institute. And I'm going to scroll down to this portion down here because it actually talks about where they broke the law. So the five mayors, Mason, Tom Barnett, all the other ones I just mentioned, met at least 4 times on Zoom over a period of several months to discuss grant money that would eventually lead to the CTCL's election takeover. Almost no one in the state knew about these meetings until last week. And he's talking about this past week. He actually got the emails, I think on like May 6th. I want to say he reported that. Thursday, May 6th, I think sounds about right. But this wasn't known until last week that they were meeting and no one knew about it. This would appear to violate Wisconsin open meetings laws, which requires that all meetings of all state and local government bodies shall be publicly held in places reasonably accessible to members of the public and shall be open to all citizens at all times unless otherwise expressly provided by law.
Now, let me say something about that. So what that is going to be is the maxims of law says that the public and the private cannot mix. The public and the private cannot mix. So the public government entities that we gave authority to handle our business is now going behind the scene, working in private meetings with corporate entities that are not part of government. So they're working with private entities, hiding and doing it. And you're going to find that is going to be part of their open meeting law in the statute. Now, the reason that this is super important is because there is no grant of authority for the government officials to do this. So we look at the Constitution backwards. We're like, what rights do we have in the Constitution? What we need to understand is that we gave certain powers to the legislature, to the executive branch, and to the judicial. If we didn't give the power in the Constitution, they're stealing it. So what we need to be doing is sending a notice and saying, we need you to show us where in the Constitution we granted authority for you to be able to have private meetings. You are our servants and trustees. Where in the Constitution did we give you, in your trust indenture, the Constitution, did we give you the authority to have private meetings? And that will blow up everything. See, we don't have to say, I think you committed fraud in your private meeting. And then they're going to say, okay, well, let's go to court and prove it. No, I don't want to. I just want to say, you're using some authority that I never gave you. Now, here's the question. It's been a week, right? How many people have sent written notices or affidavits to the government showing them that they were wrong? You're mute. Your mute button.
Doggone it. See, I did it again. Son of a gun, man. Rookie mistake. I'll get there.
You're doing Milli Vanilli.
It's my dog in the back's making noise. Talk to me then, like I'm 5 years old, Dave, about an affidavit. What is it? How do people use it?
Okay.
What can they use it for?
So a notice. So what happens is the government officials break the law. And the reason they keep breaking the law is because they say nobody ever told them they were breaking the law. They thought they were doing it in good faith. So they get off. And then they try to act like they have this immunity, right? So my question is, if they don't know, and that's the argument they use all the time, what should we be doing? If they say, I didn't know it was the law, and they keep getting off for the same stupid stuff, what should we be doing to make sure they can't say they didn't know?
Holding them accountable.
How?
With written notice that we know the law.
So if we give them, so we're the employers. How many businesses have you ever seen that don't give you a job description?
None.
No training telling you what to do.
None.
So we're the employers. They are our servants, and we don't tell them what to do. How are we regulating our government if we won't tell them what to do? We don't give them a job description, then we just wonder why they write everything the attorneys tell them to. Now, I'm going to prove that to you, though, because I don't want to just say this. Let's go into the section 22 of your Bill of Declarations of Rights in Wisconsin, Article 1.
Now I got to pull this up. Wisconsin Bill of Rights.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Now, what most people are going to say is, why in the world would they ever listen to me? How do I know they're going to pay attention to me? What if they don't want to hear? What if, do I really have the right to talk to them? What if they feel like I don't have the right to talk to him, right? Isn't that what happens when you ask them if they want to take action? Why would they listen to nothing like me? I'm a nobody. I'm not part of the legislature. I'm not a government official. What would make them listen to me? So let's pull open the Bill of Rights so you can.
Yeah, and sorry, folks, about the blurriness. It's my internet connection. It's not great, and I haven't upgraded my internet yet. So if it is kind of blurry, I do apologize for that. But here it is. This is the Wisconsin Bill of Rights. It's a PDF, so I can scroll down to wherever we need to go.
So you got to get out of this part, though, because this is a table of contents. You're going to have to go down.
So where are we headed here?
Let's go to section 22.
Section 22. Okay.
And your forefathers are going to tell us how to keep a free government because we don't know, right? The government seems like they're doing what they want to do. So what we got to do is we got to find out how to stop them.
Freedom of the press, Second Amendment. I'm scrolling down here. There's no numbers on this.
Okay, go back to the electronic version. Ballotpedia is the best.
Here.
So scroll down Ballotpedia right there. There you go.
This is like your Ballotpedia is probably like your go-to site. Yeah. All right. So articles.
So Article 1.
Article 1. Okay.
Yep. Matter of fact, go back one. You know how they tell y'all that, hey, you know, the people were all Satan worshipers who, scroll down to the preamble. The people were all Satan worshipers who created the Constitution, right? Let's read right here. Let's read the purpose of why this Constitution was written so we can learn. We, the people of Wisconsin, grateful to who?
Almighty God.
It didn't say like grateful to the Mason Lodge or nothing like that, because they always say there were Masons that didn't believe in God and they were heathens. Almighty God for our what?
Freedom.
If God gave the freedom, who could take it away?
Nobody.
In order to secure its blessings, our freedom, form a more perfect government, better than it was before, ensure domestic tranquility, no drama, and promote the general welfare, do establish this Constitution. We do, the people, not the government. So we need to realize who started all this. The people did, with blessings they got from the Father and letting the government officials know, don't interfere with our blessings. Now, let's scroll down to number 22 of the Article 1. So click on Article 1, the blue part. And let's scroll down to number 22.
22. Here we got it over here too. Section 22. Okay.
Tell me what it says.
Maintenance of free government.
So if you want to stay free and you want the government to stop running you over, what do we need to do?
Maintain it.
How? Let's read.
The blessings of a free government can only be maintained by a firm adherence to justice.
So they got to stick to justice and what is right, and we do too. Keep going.
Maintained by a firm adherence to justice, moderation.
We can't let them overspend.
Temperance.
We got to have self-control.
Frugality and virtue.
Can't be spending like crazy, and we got to be righteous, right?
And by frequent recurrence to fundamental principles.
Okay, frequent recurrence to fundamental principles mean we need to take the fundamental principles of law and teach the government over and over and the people over and over again. So now here's the question. How many times have we taught the government in recent history? How many of us have a right to go teach the government?
All of us.
So we have a right to do it. We have a duty to do it, but we haven't done it. And then we wonder why in the world is the judges and attorneys not doing what we tell them to do? Because we haven't frequently. See, I get on shows and I start frequently telling people what the law say, and I know people get tired. They're like, man, you keep talking about notices and affidavits. Yeah, because that's what you're not doing. That's getting you made a slave. Your forefather said when you don't remind them, they're going to make you a slave. So then we get mad because they're making us wear mask. They're doing all this stuff to us. They're attacking us. They're using the courts against us. They won't let us check the AUDIT. They're spending tons of money on dumb onion machines, and we don't know why they won't stop. It's because they know we don't know. And we ain't telling them. We don't know, and we're not frequently telling them. So if none of us have frequently went and told them, it's our fault. Because we got employees and servants that don't know what to do, and the only ones who'll tell them what to do is the attorneys.
But it's the lack of knowledge, Dave. I think that's where the crux is people just don't have it, and they don't want to do the work to get it.
Let me ask you a question, dear brother, because you're brilliant as heck, and I know you are. And you're going to see this. You're going to catch this really fast. In the Bible, did God not say have dominion over the birds of the air, the fish of the sea, the creeping, crawling things on the earth? So when did God tell you to let another man have dominion over you?
Never did.
Didn't say that. So if we're to have dominion, it was the people in the earth that started picking kings, right? And God said in the Bible, don't get a king because he's going to send your kids to war. He's going to take your stuff, right? So if God said, don't get a king, and our forefathers were smart enough to say, don't get a king, we should already know from the Bible and history that we should not get a king if we listen to God. But because the state has taught us in school that God is a joke and don't listen to him, now we don't know where to go to find out where to get our remedy from the common law. And the common law came from the Bible. So they get us to not talk about religion and politics.
Yes.
And we don't look at the Bible. So then they hide the truth.
Yeah.
So then We don't know our forefathers said what they said about God gave us our liberty. Many of us think the government gives you your rights. The attorneys argue it. They're like, based on the 14th Amendment, you got a right that was given to you under the Second Amendment to the states that says that you can carry a gun. What? God gave me my liberty and my ability to protect myself. You better get out of here. You're talking crazy, right? So the problem is, because we don't know the fundamental principles, we can't tell people. And because we can't tell people, we can't stand for our rights. They don't exist in our realm of thinking. But as soon as we start finding stuff out, it gets ugly.
But Dave, this is why the last bastion, I think, of hope for us, which they are going after now, is the church.
True.
Because the church is becoming a social justice warrior player, just like all the rest of them, just like the big corporations, just like big media. This is why do you think BLM said they wanted to tear down the nuclear family?
The church has allowed themselves to become 501c3s so they can't talk about politics. But wasn't it already no taxes on private entities? Churches don't pay taxes. They tricked them to not talk about politics by making them 501c3s to get a tax break they already had. That's smart, right? The people in the churches don't want to talk about stuff in politics because they feel like they'll have to pay 7 years back taxes. When if you were a private entity that just dealt with Jesus, you wouldn't have to pay any back taxes because you wouldn't have any tax obligation. It's a trick. This is how dirty they are.
But it's money-based.
It is. It's money-based, but the thing is money and power-based, but as long as we don't know the thing we fight over the most is not spending our time talking about the law and the truth.
Yeah.
People get tired of hearing the law and the truth. Like, people are thirsty right now.
Yes.
So like the girls used to use the term like, man, you thirsty. You always lusting after me. You thirsty, right? The people are now thirsty for truth and knowledge because they realize they're in a spot they don't know what to do and they're scared as a mother. Mm-hmm. They're super scared. And now they're like, tell me what to do. I'll do something. Let's get it going. Like, I got to do something. And the thing is that this is what will help us to grow. It's fun to talk about the problems, but if you don't come with the truth and the solution, you don't win. So what did we gain so far? We have the right to go to the government officials and tell them what our issues are, right? We get to give them a frequent recurrence to fundamental principles. So as we learn the law, we should be going and telling them. So we just looked at section what, 21?
22.
No, I'm sorry, 22.
Yeah.
Let's look at section 21, and we're going to see
same article.
Yes, sir. Okay. What the people have the power to do that they don't talk to us about. So people start saying, I got to have an attorney or I can't do nothing. I got to have an attorney. They've tricked us to think that we got to have an attorney for everything. So we got to spend some crazy amount of money, right?
Yeah.
What does it say in text of section 21, sir?
So this is the rights of suitors.
The rights of people who making cases. What does it say?
Number 1, writs of error shall never be prohibited and shall be issued by such courts as the legislator designates by law.
Mm-hmm. Let me see the next one.
Number 2, in any court of this state, any suitor may prosecute or defend his suit either in his own proper person or by an attorney of the suitor's choice.
What's an own proper person, sir? This is going to be good. See, I told you about status, standing, and jurisdiction, right? This is the common law that the attorneys hide. You have the ability to prosecute your own freaking case. Have they ever told you that? I'm going to show y'all some fire. Y'all know what the definition of court is? The international definition? Everybody in the comments, start telling me if you know what court is. See, people tell you got to go to court to win. I showed y'all something that the judge said earlier. The judge said affidavits that got rid of any controversy in the facts, I would judge by that, right? Didn't he say that? You remember that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I jumped in and I said, oh, crap. Do you know what he just said? Here's the Black's Law definition. Ooh, that's nice, man. I appreciate you for that one. Here's the definition of court.
Let me make it even better. Okay.
Here's the definition of court right here, right? Oops, wrong way. So here's court. Dang it.
It's too small.
Right?
I'm trying to make it big.
Here's court, and it says a space, right? A space which is uncovered, and it's going to give more of that definition. I'm going to go down to the important one so we can just get through this. Court of Massachusetts, right here. Now look at what it says right here. The person and the suit of the sovereigns, right? The person and the suit of the sovereign, the place where the sovereign sojourns with his regal retinue, wherever that may be. So right here, the Black's Law 5th Dictionary tells you that the court is not the freaking building. It is the suit, the paperwork, and the person, the entity on the paper, of the sovereign, the one who is the highest in the law. The constitutions tell us that the people have all political power. If the people have all political power and the suit can be put wherever it needs to be to handle one's business, who is the highest, the people can come with the affidavit and prosecute a dang case your darn self. You'll notice in my affidavits, I'll say, comes now, affiant, right? My name, one of the people, sui juris. Y'all know what sui juris means? I think I told you the other day. Sui juris means in his own right, able to handle his own legal affairs with no handicap. Another word they like to use is your own proper person, not pro se in court, right? Not representing yourself, but in your own proper person. You are yourself with all legal rights. Now let's go back to the Constitution so I can show it to y'all.
Okay.
Watch this. I'm going to show y'all how to win outside the court, and the judge told y'all by mistake. In any court of this state, right? Now, they just told you court can be anywhere, didn't they?
Yep.
Any suitor may prosecute. You can prosecute your own case. Some people laugh at me when I put in my documents, I'm the prosecutor and you're the wrongdoer. They're like, how do you gonna write you're the prosecutor? You're not a prosecutor. Well, look at what it says here.
According to the state constitution, I am.
Yeah. See, this is why the attorneys get to say dumb stuff, because we don't know this is in here. Any suitor may prosecute or defend his suit either in his own proper person or by an attorney of the suitor's choice. Now, did y'all catch that? Attorney is one who's standing in on your behalf. Did it say a bar attorney? Said an attorney. Now, we got the right to bring our own cases. Who understands our cases more than us? Nobody. So if we have an issue, we can bring our own case. Now, if you get a notary to give a jurat, which is you swearing an oath that what you're saying is true, then what happens is you're writing a document out called an affidavit. And that affidavit, if they don't respond, is actually court. That's why I say sui juris in this court of record. I'm making the rules of court right there and telling them if you don't respond,
yes,
you agree that you're guilty. And people say, David, how do we know your affidavit has teeth? How do we know it's going to work? Well, why I keep working in different states? It's working because I'm showing y'all exactly how to get these people. So if Bill and them go to the legislature and hit them with affidavits and notices, the affidavits, if the legislature don't respond to them, they're going to end up being in court of the people right now. And you don't get a chance to go in front of a judge. The person who is the witness is the notary. They're swearing you in, and if they don't respond to you swearing in, they lose. That's why the judge said, if there's affidavits to clear up the matter and there's no issues of controversy, I can judge off of that. Y'all catching this? Let me know if y'all getting this in the crowd. I see this. They're messing up some of y'all stuff.
Well, I think they're talking about potentially YouTube censoring. I don't know if that's true, guys. If it is, just keep hitting refresh because this is fire. Obviously, it's straight fire. This, folks, this is church.
Gangsta
This is church.
fire.
This is church of the country. Now, I'm not talking about this. We're worshiping the country. Obviously, that's not true. We worship God and God alone. He is I talked about this.
But
on
we're
Sunday.
giving him glory. We're giving
Amen.
him glory.
He is at the top of our triangle, but he did give us our inalienable rights in these constitutions. And you saw it earlier in the Wisconsin State Constitution. This section 21, for all of those aggrieved by the situations of unlawful acts in Wisconsin, can use this, an affidavit, as a way to perform a prosecution or to let them notice that you notice that they are on notice. And you can bring your proper person, or you can bring
your case
as a proper person or by an attorney of your suitors or choice.
So you don't have to use an attorney. You can show them the issues one-on-one, right? And you have the ability to do it by coming sui juris or in appropriate persona, right? And what happens is that you're standing in your own proper person or in your own right. Now, we're going to get deeper. Go to section 9, dear King.
I love it. Section 9.
Yes. So
Zoom out.
Bill has been done wrong. Bill's rights have been affected.
You're talking about Bill Bailey.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just want to clear that up. Make sure everybody knows where you're at.
Now, when somebody affects your rights, everybody says, well, it costs money. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. It's going to be hard for me. No, it's not. Let's go.
All right. Wisconsin State Constitution, Article 1, Section 9. Remedy for wrongs.
Woo! If you do something against the Constitution, is it wrong or right? It's wrong, right? It's wrong
Right.
when they go against the plain language of the Constitution. Now we know what the Constitution said. So the legislature may have made a mistake and let the dumb bar members write something that they weren't able to write, right? And I'm going to prove to you. Remind me to go to Miranda versus Arizona, page 491 of that case in the Supreme Court. And we're going to see that they don't have the power to do what the freak they're trying to act like they can do. But every person is what? Some people are entitled, and it sucks because they don't have a reason to be entitled. But your forefather said you are entitled to something. Somebody tell me what it says.
Entitled to a certain remedy in the laws for all injuries or wrongs which may receive in his person, property, or character, he ought to obtain justice freely.
Whoa, we ain't got to pay? You know, the attorneys are the only ones who's supposed to be paying, right? Who sue every day in court professionally? The people aren't supposed to be paying for justice. Did that strike you as kind of strange? He ought to obtain justice what?
Freely.
That means no money, right?
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
without being obliged to purchase it.
They can't make an obligation for you to purchase your case for your freedom, for your remedy, to address your wrongs, to get redress, to not be aggrieved.
And completely and without denial, promptly.
They can't deny you. If somebody is affecting your rights, nobody can freaking deny you. They swore to it already. Why is the judge saying you can't do that? The legislature changed something, therefore you can't do it. Dude, when it says that I have the right to take the whole freaking select the results of the whole freaking thing and slaughter it, I have that right. When you interfere with my right, you have a duty to fix it. You cannot deny me. You must do it fast, without delay, and you cannot make me pay for it. Conformable to the laws. What's the highest law? The Constitution. Anything written outside of the granted permission of the Constitution is a bunch of bull. So don't even bring it up to me. Did you give me this? I have a right. Did you do it? No. Fix it.
Bang.
You got to pay a court. No. I ain't paying you a dang thing. Fix it.
Because it says in Section 9, I don't have to.
You're denied. What the freak you mean I'm denied? Fix it. Right here, you said, you swore when you got hired and collected money for this job that you would never interfere. You would never interfere with this. So why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Legislature, you let your dumb attorneys made you write something against this. Now they've stopped me in court based off of some stupid statutes that you wrote for the silly Secretary of State who's a freaking cheater. And now I'm injured in my rights and the wrongs done to me. I need you to fix it. My rights are my property. My forefathers put it in the Constitution that this was a right. You swore when you got hired to honor it. And now you got the nerve to try to tell me I got to pay you some money to get it fixed? You gonna deny me, Judge? You said you will not deny me. This is a right guaranteed in the Constitution. You don't have the right to make legislation against it. Judge, you don't have a right to honor that bull. There's no duty created if the law goes against the constitutional grant of authority. That statute is null and void at its creation, like it was never made, not when the judge says so. Marbury versus Madison. It's some bull. So they cheated.
Hey, oh my gosh. So along with what you're saying, David, we apparently, CanCon just mentioned to me, and I've seen people in the comments say this too, that our feed keeps cutting. And we have gone down from like almost 1,000 people down to 530 right now.
I think we're getting an attack. That's why when this is twice now that I got on my internet, started showing people, because some people are seeing this. So they're going to have to restart it.
Yeah.
Some of the people are seeing it, but here's what's happening. And this happens, ask Jonah Bay, ask David Straight. Every time we get to teaching people the laws, what ends up happening is the people start seeing the truth, and government officials, I already showed y'all the meetings where they had with big tech to limit people's ability to speak. So they use, one of the military guys told me that we were being, the technology they were used was called scrambler technology, where they scramble your message so it keeps kicking off every certain amount of minutes. It'll just boosh, boosh, hit the signal. So that's what they're doing. They knew that we were coming on the show, and so they know to interfere and try to destroy it.
Well, and I did say my internet was bad earlier, but I've got full service right now. It rarely cuts out. Like it only cuts out every 5 seconds or 5 minutes, but even it just goes down for a little bit and then it comes back up. So what I think we're going to do, Dave, is just keep going.
Yes,
and
sir.
Then this will be recorded.
Good.
People can go back. They can share it. And then they could just, I know it's frustrating, guys, and I'm so sorry that this is happening. Continue to refresh, continue to kind of come back to the page. But if you've missed something and you want to go back, just go back to the channel after this has been posted, which will be posted here in about a few minutes, because I want to keep this, I want to keep Dave, I want to be sensitive to Dave's time, because he's been, I mean, give me a clap for this guy, because this is, if you want to hear his testimony on how Dave got to this position, it was out of need, but we're all in need. And this is what God has done with David. People, when you go through a hardship in your life, what's this?
It's working. So I'm looking at it work right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, just tell everybody who's if it's not stopping, and I know CanCon said it was stopping up for him too, just hit refresh, just try to get back in. I'm really, really sorry. I don't think it's on my end. But again, if it does cut out on you and you miss some things, obviously go back to my channel. Once this is posted, it'll be recorded there. But the testimony that Dave has is exactly what God meant for you in your life when you go through hardships. What happens is you go through a hardship in your life, you lose something, you break something, your life becomes in shambles, you hit this low point. God is always there. It doesn't matter whether or not you think he is there in the high times and in the low times. And when he brings you out of it, you become stronger. When you're working out, I've said this before, you rip those muscle fibers when you're exercising. And then once you start fixing it, is it buffering?
It's them. Yep.
Yeah.
They're actually hitting it.
Because this is the Constitution. This is exactly what they don't want. This is why they locked us down. So that we couldn't talk like this.
They don't want us to know. And they want us separate from each other, but now it's turned to school time and we're freaking coming with fire that they ain't never seen before. Let me see if I go out and come back in, if it'll work.
All right, you do that. We'll try one more time. And then I want to hear that Miranda versus Arizona thing that you were talking about.
Okay, go to Miranda. Well, yeah, if you want to go to Miranda versus Arizona. Yeah, see, now I went out and came back in. Now it's back up.
Okay.
So Miranda versus Arizona. If you want to click on that, just put. I'll tell you what it says, pretty much word for word, and then you can do a Google search so we can look at it and see what it says. We can actually go into the case down to page 491, but it might take extra time.
Okay, so Miranda versus Arizona.
Yep.
Okay.
So
facts and case summary.
I'm gonna. Yeah, we could do that. Wait, no. Facts and case summary. No, scroll down some.
All right, hold on. Let me go back.
Let's look at one that'll actually show the case.
Wikipedia.
Wait, you're going so fast. I guess.
Sorry, man.
Right, Justia.
This one right here?
Up one, yep.
Okay.
Now go to where it says case to the right. Down some. Down up under where it says Miranda to the left.
Right here. Okay.
Down where it says case. Now scroll down to page 491. There's 447,
458, 491, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 472, 481.
Now, I showed y'all the word constitutional right. I showed y'all the term. I showed y'all the term constitutional right, and I showed you where the government is bound by the Constitution, right? So the constitutional right is where the legislature doesn't even have the power to interfere with your rights, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now watch what this says. Where rights secured by the Constitution are involved. So anything that's written as a right in the Constitution, there can be no what?
There can be no rulemaking.
Or?
Legislation.
Which would abrogate them. So the legislature doesn't have the power to write any laws against what's guaranteed in the Constitution. They don't have the power for the Secretary of State to make a new rule that can block your right in the Constitution. So what's the judge talking about? The legislature gave authority through legislation to the Secretary of State to limit the number of boats that they can look at. You see?
Yeah.
How could the legislature even write any authority to the other people, the Secretary of State, right? How is that possible?
It's not.
You see?
Man, this is
Oh, wait. Let's read down up under where it says V so I can help you understand this. See, the states start trying to say, oh, well, we could go ahead and interrogate people because there's no statute that says that we can't interrogate them and use the information against them if we didn't read them their rights. So they tried to say, just because no statute is written means that we don't have to do what the Constitution says. And look at what they say in V. Because of the nature of the problem and because of its recurrent significance, y'all keep doing this. In numerous cases, we have to this point discussed the relationship of the Fifth Amendment privilege to police interrogation without specific concentration on the facts of the cases before us. We turn now to these facts to consider the application to these cases of the constitutional principles discussed above. So now the judges are correcting the issues because people got hurt in a whole bunch of cases where the police didn't do what was right. We as the people were the ones who were supposed to be telling the police what was right. We never told them. We never told the government officials that they're not supposed to be doing this. Watch this. In each instance, we have concluded that statements were obtained from the defendant under circumstances that did not meet constitutional standards for protection of the privilege. So the stuff in the Constitution that are rights, you can't just say because there's not a statute that tells us we have to do it, doesn't mean we can't, we got to do it. So the legislature has been getting tricked to writing statutes that makes it okay for them not to follow the Constitution.
I mean, and they can't. that's
Watch
the whole.
this. Watch what they did. On March 13, 1963, petitioner Ernesto Miranda was arrested at his home and taken into custody to Phoenix Police Station. He was taken there, identified by the complaining witness, The police took him in interrogation room number 2 of the Detective Bureau. There he was questioned by 2 police officers. The officers admitted at trial that Miranda was not advised that he had a right to have an attorney present. You see that?
Yeah.
Notice what they did wrong. They didn't give him an attorney and didn't tell him his rights, right? Now watch what they do. Officers emerged from the interrogation room with a written confession signed by Miranda. At the top of the statement was a typed paragraph, government officials lying, stating that the confession was made voluntary without threats or promises of immunity and with full knowledge of my legal rights. They typed it for him. Understanding any statement I make may be used against me. So you didn't give him an attorney, but he has full knowledge of his legal rights? See, and I'm going to show you how dirty the courts are. This is what we got to know. Watch this. At his trial before a jury, the written confession was admitted into evidence, even though they cheated to get it, over the objection of the defense counsel. So they'll even go against the other attorneys and be wrong and know they're wrong. And officers testified to the prior oral confession made by Miranda during the interrogation. Miranda was found guilty of kidnapping and rape. He was sentenced to 20 to 30 years imprisonment on each count, the sentences to run concurrently. On appeal, the Supreme Court of Arizona held that Miranda's constitutional rights were not violated. How many courts are going to freaking cheat and act like it's okay for them not to use the law? You see how this works? They'll say, well, Bill Bailey didn't have a right, all the way up to the state constitution. Then the Supreme Court again be like, well, actually, they're lying. How long do we have to face this? How long are we going to let them just keep going lying all the time and not telling us what's in the law? In obtaining the confession and affirm the conviction, in reaching its decision, the court emphasized heavily on the fact Miranda did not specifically request counsel. Now, you see how stupid this is? The judges are supposed to be looking for stealthy encroachments against our rights. And these clowns who swore to protect the people's rights and not follow the Constitution are letting these people trample your rights and saying, well, he didn't ask for his right. You're a trustee of the people, which means your job is to protect their rights at all costs. You don't let people cheat to get a conviction at the cost of not following the Constitution that you swore an oath to, or you're a criminal. So we see these people will cheat over and over and over again and use fraud to hurt you. So let's see what they did. We reverse. We say their dumb courts were wrong. From the testimony of the officers and by the admission of the respondent, it is clear that Miranda was not in any way apprised of his right, just like Bill Bailey, to consult with an attorney to have one present during the interrogation, nor was his right not to be compelled to incriminate himself effectively protected. It's the government's job to secure and protect our rights and freedoms.
Yep.
We shouldn't have to beg for it. We shouldn't even have to know. They should be dealing with it and knowing that if you don't know what your rights are, we're not going to trample it and take advantage of you. We're going to do this court case fairly. We are not going to make it where you have to know that what David Jose said was in the Constitution. We're going to tell you. But notice today, the judge didn't tell what the real rights was that he had.
Yeah.
The judge didn't tell.
No, he didn't.
Now watch this. It says, without these warnings, the statements were inadmissible. Somebody could prosecute you for something you did wrong and say that you told on yourself. And because they cheat in the way they do the investigation and don't follow the Constitution, the whole case could be thrown out. What the gentleman did today in court when he said that, listen, he told part of what the law said. And because nobody brought up in the case and the pleadings in the first time and the pleadings in the second time that this is what was said, they're withholding justice to Bill Bailey. They're holding back justice. Watch what it says. The mere fact that he signed a statement which contained a typed-in clause stating that he had full knowledge of his rights does not approach the knowing and intelligent waiver required to relinquish constitutional rights. Your constitutional rights are protected if a judge says so or not. That's how serious this is. This is why we're losing cases, because attorneys will make up an argument that's a bunch of bull, and judges all the way up the line will accept that garbage because they know the people don't know. And then the Supreme Court had to step in back then when they were a little bit more righteous and legit. But notice here. Notice it said with a typed up clause saying that he had full knowledge of his rights does not approach the knowing and intelligent waiver. Now, another thing we do in affidavits is we teach them the law that they're breaking. So now can they say they didn't know? See, they don't give us the benefit of teaching us the law first and then prosecuting us. They'll not let you know, prosecute you breaking the law, and get the prosecution because it makes them money in the private courts, and it makes them power when they prosecute a lot of people, but they're not telling you what the law said.
Jeepers, man.
They're not telling you.
That's just freaking. David, listen. I'm gonna end this now. There's so many things that we could cover right now, but I'm gonna end this because I think YouTube. Some people are saying that it's being throttled all over YouTube.
I had to push play. I had to push play for it to come back. Now it's spinning. Yeah. But somebody just said it's happening on Liz Harris channel. So
right, they're throttling right now. So.
I think what might be happening is we're kicking so much butt around the country, they might just be slowing down YouTube altogether.
Listen, they know this is when we do our shows. They know this is when Bahizzi and Nick and Cancon and Doug TenNapel and Bill Bailey, they have other shows, and Neil Johnson. Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this now. I will post this to Rumble. I'm going to get on Rumble tonight. I'm going to post it, and I'll send you guys the link somehow. I'll get it to you somehow. But
you know what? Get on Odyssey, Library TV.
Yeah,
Odyssey.
No, I'm on that too.
So finish it up and then forward it to there, like your cut up version of the video, upload it again and let it go there, and then hit people with that link so they can't affect it.
Yeah, and see, we got one guy in Australia that's saying that he's not having any problems. So we have gone, I will say this, we have gone from almost 1,000 down to 366, and I think people that are in here now are having issues. But again, this is going to be recorded. Come back to my channel. If it doesn't work there, I'll have it up on Rumble. I'm going to put it up in multiple locations. If I have to stinking hold my 1980s camera recorder over my shoulder to record this information, I'm going to do it, and we'll get it out to you guys somehow. Because
we can get together and do a class on a notice or whatever Marcus wants me to do. I'll get it done.
And the people of Wisconsin will have you back. But everybody, I know, David, you're a humble guy. I consider you a friend from the short time that we've had. And I cannot thank you enough. And this is not hyperbole, brother. I cannot thank you enough for A, having the courage to do what you're doing, B, sticking with God through all of the you-know-what that you have gone through in your life to get here, because you have changed so many people's lives. You have given those hope who have none, and it's just based off knowledge that you've obtained because you had to do it. And I am so thankful for you, man. Go subscribe, do all that stuff today. But as a man, I am honored to know you, and I'm so thankful for you, man. I really am.
I feel the same about you, bro. And I thank God for the pain and agony, because it opened up doors for so much. And he taught me how to have peace and strength through tough stuff. And he's given me knowledge to expand on what it is that I could do before. He's made me way better. And I know we're going to have big victory across the nation. So, man, I look kind of like Ray Lewis.
You kind of do, actually.
Like the cheekbones and the beard.
No.
Like, man.
You know who I should pull this up.
Go ahead and say Usher.
Yeah, come on. That's exactly what I was gonna say.
I lost weight now. All through middle school and high school, everybody said you look like Usher.
Oh, I got
I got that arrowhead nose and high cheekbones.
You knew I was going there. You knew I was gonna say that.
My dad said it to me before. He's like, man, Dave, you look like some guy I seen on TV. I said, who, Usher? And he said, no, it's this guy. And he sent me a picture and it was Usher.
Your dad didn't know who Usher was?
Nope.
Check it out, folks. Look at this. Is that my guy or what?
Funny.
Is that my guy?
That's
Look
funny.
Wait, hold on. Let me get this one right here. This is the one.
That is funny.
Except he needs a freedom hat. He'll never wear one, but
yeah,
you got to get him a freedom. Look at that.
I can't get no hair, and he can't get no freedom hat.
Oh man! All right, I'm gonna end this. We'll post it anywhere. I'll let you guys know where it's posted. Thank you to all of you who have been in this chat. David, this is part 1. Apparently, we got to go to part 2 to talk about affidavits.
Whatever we got to do. If we need to go to Telegram, somebody's talking about Telegram chat. Yeah. I'm gonna try to open up that platform if the Lord wills today or tomorrow. I got to finish up a video for affidavits for the affidavit class, so I got to do that too. And I got to do some study and find some stuff that I was looking up within the last month. I got to go back and get it while it's fresh in my mind. But I hope this was good enough, at least for people to get some of the steps.
I'm going to mute your microphone right now. Good enough? You literally brought us to articles within subsections of the Wisconsin and Michigan constitutions to teach the people that were on here for at least a short amount of time they were on here, what they can do moving forward. On behalf of everybody listening and watching, thank you. I mean, listen, I'm no constitutional scholar. I was learning just as much as everybody else tonight. I want to learn just as much as Dave. I want to learn the information that Dave has. You are a treasure to this country, and I freaking love you, man. Thank you.
You too, bro. Let's get this action going, and let's get back together soon. Let's figure out some platforms to use to keep stuff secure and right. Yeah. And if the Lord shall let me live, guys, we'll get some stuff together so we can all get together in the same platform hidden. So that they can't mess with our stuff no more. Forget all this. We're taking the nation back. Satan will come and interfere temporarily, but God is good. Amen. We're gonna be delivered. We're gonna bring that fire. We're gonna come together harder than ever before. So let's make that stuff happen. I think Josh did talk to Bobby Python about some of the stuff we're doing on a video.
Okay.
And Bobby Python was like, "Yeah, man, that affidavit stuff sounds good. I ain't heard this before, but let's rock and roll with it." Today,
is he coming on with you?
Josh hooks up with everybody. Like Josh is the contact. I have never met anybody in this whole movement that didn't have something to do with Josh. Okay. So I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Josh. So Josh talked to Liz Harris and Bobby Python. Today we seen that Patrick Byrne has said some stuff about Josh Barnett and I and Liz Harris, some of the fighters. So I think God is allowing us to come together really quickly. Yeah. And there's enough followers between all of you guys and these people, Patrick and Mike Lindell. And I think some of you guys who are the followers actually went out and you guys are the ones who made contact with all these people posting on their pages. And now they're talking about us all over the nation. These like people who have TV shows, billionaires, millionaires, people who have all these contacts. It was you guys. Can't even get it to work now. Wow. It was you guys who went out and reached out to all those people. So I want to thank you guys for that. And yes, God is raising up an amazing, well-educated, well-polished, sharp army of good people who want to just use the law and stand. And so I thank you guys for all that because y'all are the ones who, let me see, David, how are you going to make redress of grievances? We could do the notices or affidavits. I'll get with Marcus. If we get on Telegram or Signal, I know for sure our conversation to go perfectly would be good. Yeah. David Jose is a household name. Who made some toilet paper called David Jose?
God, get out of here. Hey, somebody commented, and I had to have you do it because I had no clue that you had these kind of skills before. I want you to freestyle for like 2 minutes or at least a minute on the way out. And I'm going to end the broadcast with you freestyle because this is so fun. Hey, everybody, thank you for subscribing.
I might mess up.
Go to Dave Cares for You, his YouTube channel. Subscribe, share the crap out of that. Make sure you share and subscribe because this dude is an American treasure. All right, here, I'll put up the mic. You do it, and I'm going to end the broadcast.
All right.
Here we go. But you need a beat or anything? You need a beat?
You got a beat?
I'll give you one.
Give me one. Nah, too fast. Give you something
Okay.
else. All right. Here we go. We got people talking about Barnett in the scene. I'm looking to the comments while I'm on my gangster lean. I get hype. I used to use oil sheen, but I can't grow hair, so I kind of be mean. Legislators hate me. Not really, because I teach them like silly, like a hillbilly. They call me Young Dave. He messed up on my beat. I got to come back, get hype, and go real sweet. Come on, man, make my beat freaking hot. I got on a dirty shirt up in the spot. I get hype, freedom is what I freaking got. I'll mess you up, dude, have you acting like a thought. I get crazy, don't try to amaze me. I get down, baby, I might have to blaze thee. Leave you in a trance, got you looking hazy. Patrick like Swayze, people tried to blaze me, hit me with some shells. I'm like, back up, I got a story to tell. The people doing the constitutional thing, they might cut off the show with the verbs that I bring.
Bye, everybody.